Hi, I'm Alan from Trails to the Unknown, and today I'll be telling you about 3 Christmas mysteries. In this first mystery, it's possible that aliens paid a holiday visit to this little English town. In western Wiltshire, England, lies a town of about 17,000 people called Warminster. On Christmas Day in 1964, a loud noise echoed through the town's Boreham Field housing estate. It shook houses and a huge orange fireball was seen in the sky, crackling and hissing like a giant campfire. As the noises, described as sounding like sonic booms, continued week after week, so did reports of unidentified objects flying through the sky. Local military and government agencies would not admit to any involvement, so the mystery deepened. Was this an alien invasion or some secret government experiment? No one knew for sure. There were reports of these strange sounds killing flocks of pigeons, inexplicable sights in the sky, several mysterious noises, and other odd occurrences. The phenomenon became known as the Warminster Thing. It seemed that most of the sightings were centered around the Cradle Hill and Clay Hill areas near military land on the edge of the Salisbury Plain. One local resident, Gordon Faulkner, even took a photo of what appeared to be a flying saucer. The publication of that photo turned Warminster into a UFO capital, and thousands flocked there in hopes of witnessing the thing for themselves. In 1966, the BBC filmed a documentary about the sightings, which eventually led to books being written about it, the formation of a local UFO society, and in 2015, a mural was done to commemorate the 50th anniversary. Reports of paranormal events and objects being seen in the area go back as far as the early 1950s, and the sightings continued through the 1980s, with several residents reporting being shaken by vibrations and cars and motorcycles losing power. Even with the continued phenomenon and media attention, there was still no explanation for the Warminster Thing. A public meeting was held at the town hall, where many hoped to have their questions answered by local authorities. No explanation was given, and the mystery remains unsolved. To this day, the Warminster case is one of the strangest cases of mass paranormal sightings ever registered in the UK. This second mystery is a bit more gruesome, and it's possible it could happen to you. Over the last 300 years, there have been approximately 200 reports of individuals dying from a fire originating without an apparent source of external ignition, a fire that started from within the body of the victim, otherwise known as spontaneous human combustion. On Christmas Day in 1885, Mr. and Mrs. Patrick Rooney were discovered deceased in the kitchen of their Seneca, Illinois home. John Larson, a hired hand who lived at the home, awoke the morning of December 25th to find the house filled with thick black smoke. Mr. Rooney was found lying on the floor, dead, and the house's interior walls and furniture were coated with a dirty, greasy, sooty substance. There was a 2.5-foot hole burned through the floor next to the kitchen table, and the ground could be seen underneath. The hole was filled with a pile of ashes, several human bones, including a skull, and 2 human feet still in their shoes. Mrs. Rooney's 160-pound body was reduced to 12 pounds of remains. Nothing else in the kitchen was damaged by the fire, and it was as if her body had just dissolved into the ground. The tragedy left investigators baffled, as there was no reason to suspect foul play, and there was no source of ignition to be found. It was like she had just suddenly exploded. The coroner concluded that Mrs. Rooney died of spontaneous human combustion, and that somehow her body ignited itself and was reduced to ashes in a very short time. It was also concluded that Mr. Rooney had been asphyxiated by the fumes released from his wife's burning body. So what caused her to light on fire? As of yet, there's no solid scientific explanation for how or what exactly killed Mrs. Rooney. Some scientists believe spontaneous human combustion is impossible. Well, whatever caused the incident, what a way to go. This final mystery isn't as morbid or spooky as the other 2, but you may be more familiar with it. Does this ring any bells? 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. This poem, commonly known as "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," as well as "A Visit from St. Nicholas" or "The Night Before Christmas," is one of the most popular poems in America. It was published in 1823, so it's been around for quite a while, and has helped shape our idea of St. Nicholas. But what you might not know is that there was a bitter dispute over who actually wrote the poem, and to this day, we still don't know who the true author is. For 21 years, the author was uncredited because it was actually published anonymously. Then, in 1844, Clement Clark Moore claimed he was the one who had written the poem. He said the reason he submitted anonymously was because he didn't want such a childish poem to take away from his scholarly reputation. and he was only coming forward now because his children had insisted. So for quite a while, Moore was considered to be the poem's author. That is, until 1999, when the family of deceased Henry Livingston Jr., who they believed was the true author, came forward to talk to Vassar professor Don Foster. Foster was known for identifying a lost Shakespeare's poem in the anonymous writings of the Unabomber. The family asked him to prove their claim, and after much studying, Foster was able to dispute Moore's authorship and claim that Livingston was indeed the author. It was the comparison of their writings between the two poets that brought him to the conclusion that Moore couldn't have written "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Such comparisons included Livingston being known as Jolly Harry and being lighthearted in his writings, while Moore was known for his severe personality, as well as Livingston writing in anapestic meter, what "'Twas the Night" was written in, while Moore used other structures. Foster also noted that Livingston often used all as an adverb, such as all through the house. Family members of Livingston recalled hearing him recite the poem before its publication, and adding to that, Moore was also involved in another case of plagiarizing. Finally, right before claiming the poem as his own, Moore wrote a letter to see if its author was known. But Stephen Niesenbaum, former University of Massachusetts professor, thought that Foster was incorrect, and that Foster purposely selected poems that supported Livingston's authorship. He purported that several of Moore's unpublished poems had a similar tone and structure to "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." In the end, neither Foster nor Niesenbaum were able to prove who the official author was. Unless more information comes out, it's unlikely the true author of this mystery will ever be revealed. Was it Moore? Was it Livingston? For now, Clement Clarke Moore will be the acknowledged author for "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." So what do you think? Were aliens trying to make contact with the town of Warminster? Is spontaneous human combustion possible? Did Moore or Livingston write the "'Twas the Night" poem? Comment your opinions down below, and maybe someday these mysteries will be solved. Happy holidays! Go back as far as the early 1950s. Reports! I feel like Ron Sterling. It was also concluded that Mr. Rooney had been As of yet, there's no solid. It was published in